Testing, testing. Good morning, everybody. We have a couple more classrooms coming in, so we're going to start in about 30 seconds. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our ESMS Veterans Day Assembly. I'm Dr. Carlson, the principal of East Shore Middle School. Please notice the emergency exits at the front and rear of the gymnasium. And also, while our 8th grade students are here in person with us, and some of our 7th grade kiddos are filing in now, the rest of our student body and staff are in the classrooms watching this live streamed. So our entire learning community is really here with us, so thank you for that. Today we come together to honor and thank the courageous men and women who have served and continue to serve our country. I want to extend a warm welcome to all of our students, staff, families, and especially our veterans and their families who are here with us today. We are incredibly grateful for your sacrifices that you've made and the values you embody: courage, resilience, and service. As a school community, it is our privilege to recognize and learn from your example. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'd like to turn the program over now to our assistant principal, Mr. Genova.
Thank you, Dr. Carlson. Good morning and welcome. I would like to thank you all for being here with us to help honor the men and women of our armed services. To begin our program, it's my pleasure to ask the following students to join us in leading in the Pledge of Allegiance: Marcus Lofton, Tahilia Rashford, Garrig Matuszewski, and Remington Brenner. Who wants to lead it? Can you lead it? Can you lead it?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please remain standing. Sorry, tried to get there quickly. Please remain standing for the Star Spangled Banner being performed by our East Shore Band under the direction of Mr. Matt DiLoretto. All right, you can be seated. Thank you. I would now like to ask Layla Batanjic to join us to present a brief history of Veterans Day. Layla.
Good morning. Veterans Day began as Armistice or Treaty Day on November 11, 1919. This day marked the end of the First World War. Over time, and as conflicts continued, the holiday changed into one that honored all veterans, both living and dead. In 1938, Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the law making Veterans Day a national holiday. The military men and women who serve and protect the U.S. come from all walks of life. They are parents, children, grandparents, friends, neighbors, and coworkers, and are an important part of their communities. Here are some facts about the veteran population of the United States, according to the United States Census Bureau. There are some 18.5 million veterans living in the United States today. 2 million veterans are women. 2.8 million live in Connecticut. 16.1 million living veterans have served during at least one war. 7 million veterans served during the Vietnam War. 5.5 million veterans served during the Persian Gulf War. Of the 16 million Americans who served during the World War II, about 558,000 are still alive. It is so important that we honor the men and women who have protected our country in times of war and peace. During peacetime, their sacrifices include deployments or being sent overseas, which cause them to miss out on time with family and friends. While technology has made it easier for veterans to keep in touch with loved ones, missing out on Little League games and birthdays are moments that cannot be replaced. During times of war, these men and women put their health and safety on the line, and many times making the ultimate sacrifice, their life. On behalf of the East Shore faculty, staff, and students, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for what you have done.
Thank you. In honor of this special day, I would now like to introduce Mr. Story, our social studies curriculum leader, to honor each veteran with a brief description of his or her service.
Thank you, Mr. Genova. Good morning and welcome to all our veterans and distinguished guests here today. It is my honor to introduce all of the veterans that have joined us here today. Veterans and student hosts, when I call your name, if you would please rise and come forward. We will give a brief description of your service, and afterwards, if you would please exit through this door into the hallway so we can take your picture with your student host. Frank Bazo is escorted by Claire Bazo. Mr. Bazo served in the Army as a combat engineer and achieved the rank of specialist. Specifically, he provided support for tanks and was trained in the use of explosives.
Sir. Thank you.
We're going to stop here for a picture.
Thank you.
Morgan Chadbourne is escorted by Lila Grace Chadbourne. Morgan was in the Morgan was in the Air Force Refuge Troop on the A-10, serving in both operations.
That's
Yep, I was going to say, that's not you. There you go.
That's me.
Yep. Thank you.
You just stay right there.
Yeah,
No, she's going to stay.
just got one more.
Stephen Chadbourne is also escorted by Lila Grace Chadbourne. Stephen served in the Navy, Army, and Air Force.
Thank you. Thanks.
Victor Crudo is escorted today by Isabella Crudo.
Thank you.
Mr. Crudo served in the Navy for 4 years in Helicopter Squadron HC-08 and the CH-46 Sea Knight. He was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, where he was a flight mechanic and air crew supporting all operations. He was deployed to the Mediterranean and Caribbean seas multiple times, participated in several missions, including the first time an international terrorist was arrested outside of the United States.
Thanks.
Joseph Dunina is escorted by Noah Dunina. Army in 1969. He trained at Fort Dix and then at Fort Gordon as a military police officer. He worked as a guard in the stockade and at a nuclear site in Europe.
Thank you.
Frank Giannotti is escorted by Isabella Crudo.
Just in time. There you go. Thank you.
Mr. Giannotti served in the Navy in Patrol Squadron 8 in New Brunswick, Maine. He served as an anti-submarine warfare operator where he used radar and other sensing equipment. He was deployed to Iceland, the Azores, and Spain, and was detailed to operations in Scotland, Norway, Puerto Rico, Denmark, and the North Pole. He later served as an air operations specialist in the Connecticut National Guard.
Thank you.
Michael Farrell is escorted by Gia Scagliorini. Mr. Farrell joined the Marine Corps in 1976, right after graduating high school. He attended boot camp on Parris Island in South Carolina for 3 months, continued his training at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. He served in Okinawa, Japan, and South Korea for 1 year. While in Japan, he was promoted to corporal meritoriously. After his time in Japan, he returned to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and continued training in 1979. He said that he would do it all over again if it meant saving his country.
Thank you.
Eric Francis is escorted by Jacob Francis. Mr. Francis served in the Army for 8 years and attained the rank of Sergeant E5. David Hartford is escorted by Julian and Andrew Grigas. Mr. Hartford attained the rank of sergeant while serving in Army intelligence in Vietnam for 2 years. He would track the enemy and predict their expected actions in order that he could interdict those forces and destroy their intended plans.
Looking for a picture? Thanks for being here again.
Andrew Heatley, being escorted by Ella Massinanti. Mr. Heatley was an F-16 fighter jet aviation specialist. He was stationed in Japan and in Las Vegas, Nevada. He also volunteered while a member of the service at Nellis Air Force Base to do their honor guard. They performed at military events and also at professional sporting events. John Layton is being escorted by Elise Layton. Mr. Layton enlisted in the Army in 1971, trained as a military policeman, tours of duty in 1972, Vietnam, and 1973 to 74, Fort Evans, Massachusetts Army Security Agency.
Thank you. Photos that way. Yeah.
Jim Lewis is being escorted by Alexis and Gianna Catania. Mr. Lewis enlisted in the Army at age 17 in basic and advanced individual training in Fort Polk, Louisiana, stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, and mechanized infantry 4th Armored Division, trained in desert, jungle, and Arctic warfare, was a trap commander. He was also stationed at Fort Wainwright in Alaska, where he trained in leadership skills, firearms, and hand-to-hand training.
Awesome.
All right. Eric Francis is here and is escorted by Jacob Francis. years and attained the rank of Sergeant E5.
There you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Picture right here.
Thank you.
Ron Mastroni is escorted by Sarah Mastroni. Mr. Mastroni served 2 years in the U.S. Army, trained at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and outside of Washington, D.C. for electrical engineering. He also served overseas in Okinawa, Japan. Sean Moore is escorted by Clayton Moore.
Thank you for your
Mr. Moore
service.
served 6 years in the Marine Corps. He was an infantryman and a radio operator. He was a veteran of the Gulf War, serving in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia during Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. James Percival is escorted by James Percival. Mr. Percival served in the Marines and stationed in Parris Island, South Carolina. He served in Memphis, Yuma, the West Pacific Cruise, China, Japan, the Philippines, and Korea. Armando Pereira is escorted by Tyler Dupree. Pereira
Nice to see you. Thank you.
training at Fort Jackson in South Carolina in July 1974, advanced training at Fort Gordon, Georgia in October of 1974, assigned to the 125th Signal Battalion on the North Shore of Hawaii from 1975 until July of 1977. John Pirozzoli is escorted by Juliana Pirozzoli. Mr. Pirozzoli served in the U.S. Army in Germany from 1967 to 1970. He served in the Quartermaster Division of the 94th Military Police Battalion. Timothy Pitts is hosted by Elise Pitts.
Thank you.
Sergeant Pitts served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps Infantry from 2001 to 2005, serving 2 tours in Operation Iraqi Freedom with the 3rd Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion as a scout squad leader. Sergeant Pitts has been awarded a Combat Action Ribbon, 2C Service Deployment Awards, a Presidential Unit Citation, an Iraqi Campaign Award, and a Navy Achievement Medal. Paul Richard is escorted by Tyler Pinkinson. Mr. Richard was drafted in 1970, completed basic training at Fort Dix in New Jersey, received artillery training at Fort Sill in Oklahoma, served on the German border in an 8-inch heavy artillery unit for 20 months during the Cold War. Thomas Scagliorini is escorted by Gino Scagliorini. Mr. Scagliorini joined the Navy when he was 18 and went to Corpsman A School. After that, he became a psychiatric tech. He served in Illinois and Florida as a psychiatric tech. He also served at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and Germany. Nicholas Scalisi is escorted by Zoe Quiroga. Army for 2 years active duty and 4 years in the reserves. Drafted in 1969, basic training at Fort Dix in New Jersey, ordered for deployment to Vietnam in 1970, and received a replacement order as payroll disbursement specialist at Fort Dix because he had a degree in accounting. John Tierney is being escorted by Liam Garfield. Mr. Tierney served in the Air Force and worked on aircraft machines, specifically in hydraulics. Planes that he worked on included the B-52 bomber and the F-105 fighter. Don Turgot is escorted by Layla Haynes. Mr. Turgot served in the Army and was a member of the 5th Infantry Division. He served from 1967 to 1969. He spent 1 year in Vietnam from 1968 to 1969.
Thank you.
Austin Weiss is escorted by Ruby Weiss. Mr. Weiss currently serves in the U.S. Navy. He's a fully qualified
Thank you for your
member
service.
of the Navy nuclear program. He's leaving November 20th to serve in the Pacific Command at Pearl Harbor. Robert Weimer is escorted by Ike Weimer. Mr. Weimer enlisted in the Army.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
In Iraq from April
We're gonna look over here and take our
2003 to
picture.
August 2004, earned a commission and attended basic officer leader training. Honorably discharged in October 2012. Edward Zolkowitz is escorted by Ashlyn Seabury. Edward served in the Army from 1965 to 1967.
Sir.
He was trained to receive injured soldiers in Texas. He held the rank of sergeant. We could just share one more round of applause for all of our veterans.
Veteran photo or no?
Thank you for your service. Thank you to the students who volunteered to spend their time to honor our veterans. At this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. Rachel Mosca and our 6th grade chorus as they sing This Land Is Your Land.
How about this?
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to New York Island, from redwood forest to ocean waters. This land
Thank you, that was great. I hope you enjoyed our assembly today. At this time, we will ask our veterans to join us in small groups to share their experiences. Your student host will guide you to your classroom, but you can also check with Dr. Carlson, me, or Mr. Story. We genuinely appreciate you taking time to share your experiences with us this morning. Thank you.
We want to dismiss the kids first.